Hello. In this video, I'm going to take a look at the slash 6 high resolution Bluetooth receiver and DAC. The slash 6 comes in a very nice little box, form-fitted foam insert there. Included is the USB-C cord. This is a high quality cord, by the way, and this cord is approximately 39 inches in length from tip to tip. We have a high quality optical cable, and this is one of those nice flexible ones. I really like this. This is just a little over 6 foot in length. We have a set of just OEM style RCA male to male, and these are approximately 33 inches in length from tip to tip. And then we get a set of some nice little barrel connectors here, and that is so we can plug those RCAs into the slash 6. And last but not least, a very clearly written instruction manual. On the front panel, we have our USB input, 3.5 millimeter stereo auxiliary input, as well as optical input, our multifunction button with micro LED in the center, another 3.5 millimeter analog. This is audio output as well as optical output. Not only is this a Bluetooth receiver and DAC, it is also a small headphone amplifier. If you have a set of fairly low impedance headphones, let's say under 100 ohms, this is going to give you plenty of volume, and the sound is phenomenal. On the back side of the device, we have some high-grade RCA connectors here. These are gold-plated male connectors, color-coded in the center there, red being right. It's a plastic enclosure, and we're about 2 inches square, give or take. So I've seen the slash 6 on the internet for several months now, and I looked at this and I was considering on purchasing it for review, and I just I was a little taken by the size of it, quite honestly. I'm used to a high-end, high-resolution Bluetooth receiver being more of a tabletop device and not like a little small dongle. I have dongles sent to me all the time, and most actually pretty much almost none of them make it to video, and that's basically because of the performance. Side note, I usually donate those. But anyway, Slash came to me and asked me if I would take a look at these 6, and I was a little hesitant, to be honest with you. And so what I did is I decided to do some homework on this, and I went to their website, started looking at all the particulars. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link to the website down below in the description box, and I'll put an Amazon link down there below, so you could purchase one if you think you want to try one of these out. And I'll just let you guys do that, and then we'll save a little bit of time. We don't really need to go over the specs here. So I was looking on their website, and I saw that they had some accessories, and I was looking at their accessories, and this is, I think, RCA Pack 1, they call this. And this is a set of RCAs. These are about 40 inches in length, tip to tip. They're separate, so they're not together, molded together or anything like that. And these have Amphenol connectors on them. So Amphenol is a very high-grade connector. I'm familiar with Amphenol because I'm into radio, and their connectors are top quality, big time. All right, we have Sommer cable here. This is a German-made high-quality cable, and these are, of course, hand soldered on there. And if you were to buy these cables and these connectors individually, by the time you pay shipping and everything, you're probably going to be paying more than the $45 that Slash asks for these. Well, that being said, when I see a company doing something like this, that has my interest now, because some lower end budget company is not going to do anything like this. This, in my opinion, you don't see this much in the industry. So these are exceptionally good cables. They are an improvement over the OEM RCAs. And in my opinion, they're well worth the $45. So yeah, if you decide to get one of these, get this combination. You can hear the difference. It's not a lot of a difference. It's not like night and day, but yes, there definitely is a difference. Okay, so I want to kind of give you an idea of what this device sounds like. I use the iFi Zen Blue version 2, the Audio Engine B1, the Blue Dento BLT HD, the RS Blumi Pro. There are a few desktop units that I use for benchmark testing. This thing just blew me away. I was not expecting this to even come close to any of those devices, honestly. And it's just due to the size, I think. Also, this is kind of an odd duck because it's designed or meant to be plugged into the back of your receiver. And I'm not too sure how I feel about that. And that was something I was thinking about when I was going to buy this piece. I like to have my Bluetooth devices either up on top of my receiver, forward in my rack, or maybe even in front of my receiver. And the reason why I like to do that, because when you have a device like this shielded or hidden behind your stereo receiver, and you may or may not, but you may have components on top, below, or around it, it can block the signal. This does not have an external antenna. The antenna on this is like a little tiny zigzag on the PC board. So I'm not really kind of into that. RF or radio wise, that can cut down on our range. And I like to walk around the house with my cell phone sometimes, or my tablet. And, when I'm doing housework, I can listen to the stereo, I can adjust things, change tracks, etc., etc. And I don't like dropouts. And so what I did is, there was a method to my madness when I wanted these upgraded cables. I wanted to plug these into my auxiliary input on my receiver, and then I can bring this up front and control it from up front. I'm going to do that for testing more than anything. But if you want to just simply a plug it in, forget it device, is all you have to do is plug this to an auxiliary or a CD or a tape input on your receiver. Plug the USB into it. Get a phone charger and either put it on a power strip or plug it into the back of your receiver. I use old vintage receivers, so most all of my receivers have a switched outlet on the back, and that would turn this on and off every time you turn your receiver on and off. Then it would literally be a kind of a plug it in and forget it type device. Now, that being said, we have some other inputs here. So we have our USB input, and that what turns this into a DAC, meaning I can take and plug this input here into my home computer, laptop, tablet, whatever, and run audio files into this and then analog out RCAs to my stereo. And this is a very, very good DAC. It has all the latest chipset technology and stuff in it. Of course, like I said earlier, all that information is on the company website, and check all that out for you guys that are interested in the numbers. All right, as well as our optical input here. We could plug this into our TV. So like if your TV has an optical output and you want to play music through your stereo, or listen to TV through your stereo, plug an optical line into your stereo, plug it to this input, and then this just plugs into your receiver, and you can do that. You could also use this as a Bluetooth receiver and then use the optical output here and plug this into your outboard DAC. Now, if you have a modern home stereo with, say, optical, analog, and coax, this does not have coaxial output, but I'm just saying, then what I like to do on something like this, especially if it's a product I'm either testing or I'm not familiar with, I will plug the analog output or the RCA output into, say, like auxiliary 1, and then I will plug the optical output of this into optical 1 input, and switch back and forth and see what works best for me. Some DACs that are built into audio video receivers are, well, not all that good. And a lot of times the analog out through here in a quality piece will sound better. So it kind of gives us a little bit of flexibility, and we can do some testing. Okay, enough of that. How does it sound? Well, I'm blown away by it, quite honestly. The size is, the sound we're getting for this size is just crazy. Again, like I say, I'm used to desktop devices considerably bigger than this, much more PC board area than a device like this. And the chipsets that these guys are using for the Bluetooth receiver and the DAC, they are utilizing them to the maximum. It's just crazy how good this thing sounds. Wise, this is probably one of my new favorites. It's right up there with the B1, and that's the Audio Engine B1 and the iFi Zen Blue version 2. The audio quality of this is just amazing. I would say this is a little bit sharper sounding in the mids and highs than, say, the Audio Engine B1, which seems to be kind of a standard. A lot of folks like to use that as a benchmark. I think this sounds more dynamic than the Audio Engine B1. I also think this sounds a little bit more dynamic and more spatial than the iFi Zen. And this is saying a lot. I got, just crazy. Low frequencies are not extended. They're very natural. Mid-range, mid-bass frequencies are not extended. They sound very natural. High frequencies sound a little bit crisper and detailed, and I really like that. It has a very good sound. Okay, one last thing I want to talk about is the RCA output level here. I want to see about 2 volts plus RCA output or line level output. And I want this higher output because I want this to match my CD player, my DVD player, cassette deck, etc. There's nothing more annoying when you plug a device, whether it's a Bluetooth receiver or DAC, into your home stereo, and you go to play said device, and it's not nearly as loud as what you just got through listening to. So like if you were listening to a CD and you wanted to go Bluetooth and walk around the house, you turn it over to, your selector to like auxiliary 1, and the Bluetooth receiver is about half as loud as what you were previously listening to. And that's kind of a problem, because what happens is, in order to get that same volume again, you're going to have to turn your stereo, your volume control knob on your stereo, up quite a bit. Well, when you do that, you lose headroom in the amplifier, and then this will not sound nearly as good as it should. So this device has the 2.1 volt minimum RMS output. It actually has a little bit stronger RCA output than some of my test devices or my benchmark devices, and that is great. Now, that is true RCA output. That's just not jacked up or overemphasized high frequencies, because that's kind of what some companies do to try to make up for a lack of RCA output, whether that's intentional or not, but that just seems to be the way it is. So anyway, this, you don't have any of the problems. This will match up to any 70s to current AV receiver or 2-channel stereo receiver. So I'm going to wrap this video up. Before I do, let's talk about pros and cons. Pros, the sound, the audio quality. The audio quality is amazing. We are getting closer and closer to CD audio. Every year we're getting a little bit closer. The DAC in this device is fabulous. I love the DAC. I love the sound of it. The headphone amp in here sounds beautiful. It sounds very dynamic, very tight, has good frequency response. Just a great sounding device overall. Okay, now the cons. No device is perfect, right? The cons, the size. I'd like to see this in maybe a bigger desktop type unit. And the reason why I say this is because if they put this in a bigger desktop unit, then we could take all of these jacks, all of these connections, right here, put them on the rear with the RCAs. But because this is designed in such a way that it's just designed to just plug in to your stereo receiver, we can't do that, right? The USB and all of this stuff would get in the way. You wouldn't be able to plug it in. So it'd be nice to have a little bit bigger device with all of the jacks on the back. I would love to see a tabletop version of this piece. I also plug this in to my iPhone, and I use my little lightning connector. I plug my lightning connector into here, and I can listen to my headphones, my wired headphones, and the DAC circuitry in here, or I can take and plug this into my home stereo. And I really like to do that. That's just so convenient for me to do. So by using this as kind of a desktop piece, plugging it into here, into these RCAs are already plugged into the back of my stereo. I can just quickly plug my phone into there, enjoy all the DAC sound qualities of this in my home stereo. And then if I want, just unplug it or unhitch it from my phone and put it into Bluetooth mode, I'm good to go. By the way, the LDAC codec sounds phenomenal in this piece. Very, very nice. And as you'll see when you go on the website, it covers all the newest and latest and greatest codecs. All right. Thanks for watching. Please leave questions or comments down below. If you already have one of these, let me know how you like it. Thanks for watching.